Against this right back, Charlie, definitely. Against this right back, Charlie, definitely.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on.
There's always just that active and that defending. I think like. There's always just that active and that defending. I think like. There's always just that active and that defending. I think like.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on.
Am I live? Of course I'm live. You know, different day, same grind. Appreciative to have you lot. First things first, people deluded. I'm back again. First things first, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and of course, in some cases, good night. If you haven't already, slap the like button, hit the subscribe button, and make sure you've turned your notifications on. Appreciative to those of you locked in on Twitch and YouTube, and also who have done so. Obviously, people, it's Friday. We made it to the end of the week. I hope you lot have had a fantastic week in your personal, private, and professional lives. Hope you and your loved ones are in good health and all of that good stuff, people. Again, without health, we're dead in it. So, yeah, no health, you're in trouble, you're stressed. So I hope you're doing well and safe. Again, in true technology fashion, it's fucking about with me. Everything should be fine. I don't know what it's talking about there, but you can delete those MP4 files and give yourself some space, laptop. There you have it. We're back again. Everything should be cushy. This intro never gets old. Appreciative, man. What's good, bro? Thank God daily for getting me through my day as I post up. First things first, hope your recovery's going well and safe. Appreciate you for always tuning in, man. And obviously, you know, if my content is able to help you in any way, I appreciate that. I can't claim credit. You know, you've done that yourself. But if I've been able to assist that via talking with football with you lot, then one love, man. Tony deserves it, bro. It's a grind, and it shows why you should never write anybody off. Obviously, Newcastle will take him now. It didn't work out for him at Newcastle after joining from Northampton. You know, I really started taking him in at Peterborough. Obviously, he went on to bigger and better things with Brentford, and he's doing his thing in the Premier League, and he's in blistering form, and he deserves it, really and truly. I think if you look at the strikers, Kane's obviously a dead cert. I would say Tammy Abraham, because he's playing quite well. There is room for another striker, and Ivan Toney could make that his own. Then obviously, if Rashford does go to the World Cup, Raheem Sterling can also play up front, and there's a couple of smart things he could do, but he deserves it, man. And it's good for the league, man, because obviously there tends to be a bias 9 times out of 10 towards the top 6. You know, obviously everyone has their favorites. I can't really accuse Southgate of that. He has made some bewildering choices, like when Trent's in better form, you don't call him up. Now he's looking shaky, you call him up. I don't know why Maguire, Shaw, and Connor Cody are there beyond the obvious. You know, the fact that they're part of the group and things like that, and they went to the last tournament. I'm not asking the gaffer to pick a whole 20-odd man squad based on form, nor am I asking him for reputation. He's got to find the balance, people. So it is what it is. Maybe Grealish, potentially Bukayo Saka. A lot of players maybe could count themselves fortunate to get England call-ups in that regards, people. I don't know. You lot would have to draw your own conclusion. He's linked as a Ronaldo replacement, which could bang who? Ivan Toney. Big up, K, man. I hope you've had a great week. Bit of a slow week on YouTube. Numbers have been shit, so that's going to affect us financially, you know, such is the volatility. But we keep going, man. We keep going. Shout out the YouTube members. Appreciate you, Graham. I'm doing well and safe, man. I hope you're doing well. I mean, United could do well to get Ivan Toney as part of the squad, really. You know, for me, I like his mentality. He's not overruled by anything. He likes a banter thing on socials. Obviously, in terms of hold-up play and all of that, he's good. Whether he's able to maintain this goal scoring streak is down to him, but he started off very well. And as I said, Ivan Toney deserves it really. And you know, on the best of days, Brentford were probably going to ask for 50 million. If he gets an England cap or whatever, where does that leave him? I hope he's not a one cap and done man, because you might have been able to play for a team of your nationality, or better yet, heritage. But yeah, man, if I was Chelsea, I'd be going hell for leather to get Toney. Good morning, Phil. Good morning, Phil. But you haven't actually said that. Good morning, DG. Toney has great confidence and belief in himself. Would be great for England and a big club. Amen. I don't know if you can rely on Ivan Toney for the top 6 though, because does he? You know, while he's got all the modern day components you look for in a player, obviously he can take penalties. That's obviously where England fell short last season. He's great in it. I think he could be part of a Chelsea squad, part of a United squad, part of an Arsenal squad. Respectfully to Brentford, because they have got good players there. I think he's one of them that would do a lot better with more stronger creative players and a team that's on the front foot a bit more. But I don't know if he'll get the goals that you need, but he's got 5 in 6. You know, for Brentford, I'm looking at it now, 52 goals in 96 appearances and 19 assists. For Peterborough, 49 goals, 16 assists in 94. The man knows how to score goals, people. Scunthorpe, 15 in 34 appearances. For Northampton, he got 13 in 60. Obviously, Barnsley was learning the tricks and trades. In 21 games, he got 2 goals. And Shrewsbury Town, he only bagged 7 in 26. But the man knows how to score, really. And for me, I would say one of his best performances for me this season was actually the game he didn't score against Man United, really. And he's a bully. You know, you don't want to play against people like him. Obviously, he's going to be in top form. He's going to be on cloud 9. I hope we can burst his bubble where Arsenal are concerned on Sunday. But yeah, in the best of days, Ivan Toney fancies playing against Arsenal. So Gabriel, Ben White, Saliba, who's ever going to be playing. I don't know where Ben White is concerned. But yeah, man, it is what it is, man. Big him up. Any games on tomorrow? Wolves, to my knowledge, Wolves, City and Spurs play Leicester. A few clubs have 9 or 10 games in October. Do you think the club is equipped to deal with that kind of schedule? In my heart, I don't think we have the depth for that. I don't think we have the depth from now till May. So when games are being clustered and, you know, obviously Europa League fixtures are being played quicker, we don't know how the World Cup's going to affect things. As an Arsenal fan, at any moment, anybody at any time could get injured, like you see it potentially with Ben White. Maybe that's why he wasn't called up for the thingy squad, and obviously in some other cases as well, where Zinchenko's dropped. You know, you're hoping TONEY returns fine. I don't think we have the squad. I don't think we have the depth. You know, Arsenal's planning on the field and off it. You know, it relies on nothing going wrong, and there is a point in the season where that's not the case, really and truly, where you're gonna need a lot. You're gonna need a lot more than that, really and truly. So I'm not too sure in that regards, really. There are rumors that Ben White has picked up an injury. I'm trying to source that on Twitter as well for you lot. Make sure I've got that. Apparently he's got a hip and knee knock. Whatever that means. All right, Ben White. Whatever injury that is, make sure you're shaking that off going into the weekend. But well, to be fair, Tomiyasu is there, but nonetheless, it's a bit crazy. Really and truly. Where is that other guy, man? There was someone else who spoke about. I can't even find it, people. So yeah, it is what it is, man. Zinchenko's got injured, but again, I've got no sympathy. I've got a lot of sympathies in general for Mikel Arteta and Edu, not for any problems we face with the squad we have or lack of squad, because you know what time it is. You know you need a squad. They've been here long enough. If the squad's not equipped, that's not on the fans. It's not actually on the players, whether they could stay fit or not. It's on the technical staff who planned this squad, who say they have a plan. You know, they're planning windows ahead. Again, for me, I have no sympathy because this ain't your first rodeo. You'll have been here for a couple of years. You know what the Premier League's about. You have personal experiences as players. There's not an ounce of sympathy, really. As I always say, anytime you have a plan in life and it's contingent on not a single facet of that plan going wrong, you're in trouble. When everyone's fit, Arsenal have a chance. So yeah, it is what it is. Cool off, man. We're gonna look at them things there. Just cool off with them questions there. Smash the like button, people. There's 100 of you locked in. This medical team and training session seems meaty. Think Toney is a good player, but not what you call a goal scorer. I think he doesn't live for goals. He don't, man. He lives to rattle, man, bring people into play. I think he's like, you know, the modern day, you have to be not a false nine, but you know, assist, lay on your teammates, get involved. He plays a lot like Lacazette, in my opinion. Lacazette looks like he's able to score goals, so maybe not quite Lacazette. I would take Ivan Toney. The problem is 50 million for someone you can't guarantee goals. Where Arsenal are concerned, if you're not bringing in, obviously there's always exceptions to the rule, and I would take Toney. But if you're not bringing in someone better than Jesus, whether that's how he plays or how he scores, unless there's an exception to the rule, as there's no real point for 50 odd million quid, really. Because, you know, he's English club tax as well. Brentford are in their rights to sell man for the maddest piece. Big up Dermot. It's quite crazy that 2 windows have come and gone, and there's still no midfielder. Amen. Love for the super chat, Desmond. Apologies, I'm just seeing that now. Glad Toney stuck to his guns. I knew he would get an England call up, but he knows he wants the best and play at the highest level. I can see him move into a big club. I don't think there's a single club. I don't think you're starting ahead of Harry Kane, but I think Spurs and Spurs fans would take you. I wouldn't put you in ahead of Gabriel Jesus, but I would love him in the squad. Chelsea, I don't know what they're on, but I'm sure Chelsea fans wouldn't turn that down. Man United, the same. Obviously, I'm sure he could get in the City squad, but then man got Haaland and Alvarez, and, you know, even with them, there'll be a time where Pep plays no strikers, so they're probably the exception. He could definitely mix and match at Liverpool, especially as Central C is not quite doing his business, so he deserves a look, man, really. And the time will come, and Brentford probably got his replacement already. Brentford have shown you with Ben Rama, with Mupay, with several other players, they can sell people and keep it moving. And obviously, they've shown that when it comes to the stars of tomorrow or players with scope to grow, they'll find them. You know, they were linked. They were the first team I ever saw that was ever linked with Mudruk, really and truly. And you've heard Arsenal been in for Mudruk, Brentford, Everton, and all these things. One love for the super chat again, Makili. But yeah, 5 goals and 1 hat trick. 5 goals and 1 hat trick. But it all depends if he's able to maintain that, really, because, you know, again, 5 in 6 or 6 in 5, whatever it looks wavy. If you play 20 games and you still got that, it is what it is. What I like about Toney, though, is his game isn't necessarily reliant on goal scoring, but strikers, no matter how much the game develops, are going to live or die by goals. Same for fullbacks, with however the game's advancing for them. Centre halves and keepers being able to distribute as well. Some things in the game have to remain, no matter how much it advances people. Great questions, great talking points. You know, while I like to go over headlines and things, it's you lot that make the platform. So keep getting them in, man. Time to question the training methods and medical staff. Players are dropping like flies. We know Ben White has been playing with a knock. To be fair, Zinchenko's gone off. Allegedly well, no, it hasn't actually gone off, really. I don't know what's happened with him. Actually, skipping ahead a week. I thought it was the international break. No, I don't know what's going on, you know, really. I mean, good thing we got Tomiyasu and Tini. Apparently, Zinchenko will only miss 2 weeks, but 2 weeks is a madness, really and truly. It all adds up. Us Arsenal fans need to understand that Edu is not good at his job. Terrible recruitment, if we're being honest. 0 squad depth. We are destined to fail given the fixture pile up. Big up, DG. Appreciate that. Harsh, you know, not good at his job is a bit unfair, in my opinion. I think he's trying to develop relationships with clubs. I think, you know, you need to give your flowers to his part that he's played with some of the signings. But I'm not going to lie to you. I wouldn't say failed, but I don't think he's cut up the task to the level we need. You know, when you look at the scramble for a midfielder, we didn't make anything happen. Last January, we didn't make anything happen. I'm not against tearing up contracts, but it's a bad precedent to set. We've, you know, more players than we can count. We haven't really sold any players for significant P's. Obviously, where you look at Ben White, Ramsdale, and a couple of Zinchenko, these were players that Edu didn't necessarily want, and Arteta was able to get his man. I do think if it ever came down to it, obviously, the results are down to the manager, but I think Edu will be clipped way before Mikel Arteta. And again, as I always say, while I have to, you know, everybody shares the W's and L's. Like, everyone needs to take responsibility for our failed squad depth. It's on Edu, and we're in a unique position. I know we're trying to have, you know, grow everybody as much as we got the players growing together. We're having a young head coach in Mertesacker, under 18s gaffer in Jack Wilshere. The under 21s gaffer is not that old. Arteta and Edu again of that. But I just feel, what could we do if we had an experienced head of director and obviously Arteta? I think you can have an experienced manager and a rookie director, the complete opposite of that. But yeah, man, we're in a dangerous scenario, really and truly. And the frustrating thing for me as an Arsenal fan is we love being 1 or 2 players short. If we get a striker, we ain't got a midfielder. You know, if we get a striker and a 10 like Odegaard, we ain't got the engine room behind them. If we have a left back, we ain't got a right back. If we got a goalie, we got no centre halves. If we've got a centre half and 2 decent fullbacks, we don't have a keeper. We love being 1 or 2 bits short, really and truly. So And obviously, it's a results-driven business. You can see what Arteta is trying to do, and you can have admiration for him. But if results go south and Arsenal don't get closer to top 4, question marks. If a player plays good or bad, question marks and praise. The technical director should be no different. As much as I feel in the last 18 months, Arsenal have tried to kind of provide clarity on what they're doing. And I did feel the summer Edu started off well. Moves were happening. He was talking very thorough and clear in the messages he was conveying to the public and things like that. But we're just short ultimately, really and truly. Chill out, bro. We're going to get into it. Stop spamming, my guy. Chill out. How many times? Relax. Please. It's Friday. You got your health. We've got a good platform. Just relax, my guy. Please stop spamming, man. Edu is a tried merchant. Actually thought he would be... Sorry, let me read that again. Edu is a tried merchant. Actually thought he would do more last 2 windows. We got enough. We got decent players, but it's still not enough to stay up to date with DG. And when he goes live, follow him on Twitter. In practice, Zinchenko and White being injured doesn't help. Fortunately, we have Tomiyasu and Tierney who will play at Brentford. And I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but there'll be a reality, as I've said, where Tierney and Zinchenko are both out or things like that. I said Toney was like another Lacazette and needed him to score more goals this season, but he actually scored a calm amount for his first season. Good player. He is a good player. Edu needs to go. Blood, bring in Edwards. I mean, would I can't lie. I'd be all for that, really. I don't. Again, we tried doesn't help, man. I do hope we sign this Mudruk guy, but my priority is still a centre mid. Would you bring back Uncle Wenger as some sort of advisor to attract top tier players? If he could, yeah. But when you're trying to put a new era, and especially with Wenger, as much as I love him and I think there's many skills he could bring, with that cloud of what Wenger used to be and things over you, it's not going to really help, in my opinion. And if I was Wenger, I'd become frustrated, respectfully. What can Arteta tell you about management? What can Edu tell you about recruitment when Wenger's had to do it all? I'm not saying he'll be like that, but yeah, really. I would all be for it, but I think the wounds are still, Wenger hasn't even been back to the Emirates, so I still think the wounds are still fresh. And until he's able to get over that potentially and move on and accept where he is, anything beyond an advisory role, is probably myth. Really and truly. It's a results-driven business after all. Edu is a shocking director of football who only goes after unknown South American players, or in this case, ex-Man City players. To be fair, Zinchenko, Jesus, they've served us well, and he's played his own part in some of the signings we brought in. I'm not against signing ex-City players. They're bloody league winners, really. I'm not against signing unknown South American players. I hear you, Clement, but fans can't have it both ways. I know everyone and their nan's a Ukrainian / Shakhtar the next / Mudruk expert right now. But, you can't have it both ways. You can't tell man to go for unknown guys and then say slag them off because they're not known. And then I'm not saying you, but when they have their outbreak 12 months, 18 months, want us to sign them. I do think we could do more. I do think centre mid, considering Edu and Arteta, should be addressed. I do think, if certain results are not achieved, then for Arteta, there needs to be question marks regardless of that contract, and Edu the same, really. We tried doesn't help me. It doesn't help you lot either. It don't help a damn soul. 44 likes. Keep running that up, people. We're off to a great start. So, yeah, man. You lot are right in what you lot are saying. Let's make that a timestamp. Let's leave that at 20 minutes. Edu done enough? Question, really. Well, I would say, what is Edu's legacy if he left? Where do you think Arsenal is in terms of the process, DG? There are project players at the club being linked with project players, but we're looking at the team to perform at the top level. We're just simply in the second year, in my opinion, of since last season, really. But as I keep saying, the league's not going to wait for all of these players to mature. And as much as I want these players to be given healthy room to make mistakes and improve and things, when I remove that, the goal is top 4. And when you have a young squad, you already sign up for that. They're going to make mistakes. You look at our experienced players, they're not really, apart from Xhaka, who, is kind of capped, no one's really given us much. In fact, if you go around the whole squad, or historically in the last 2, because there's been a good turnover, in the last 2 years, it's been our experienced players, really. Mikel Arteta, Mikel Arteta and Edu, they're the ones who gave Aubameyang a contract and tore it up. They gave Willian a deal. They signed Pablo Mari. They signed Cedric. They gave, I'm not saying it's wrong, but they gave El Nene a new deal. They signed Thomas Partey. Now, I don't think they expected or knew that we'd ever be in this scenario with the injuries and things like that, but there's got to be a scenario there. He activated his release clause. Lord knows if Partey never had a release clause, we probably don't get a midfielder that summer. And when you look at, Partey needs to hold his own, but the man can't stay fit. He's played 8 games. You're relying on him. As good as he is, he's irrelevant if he's not fit for whatever reason. If he leaves tomorrow, what is his legacy? Obviously you've brought in some players. Martinelli was brought in. Again, that was identified by a scout. So I don't know if Edu leaves tomorrow, what is the legacy? Like, what is, if we talk about David Dean, his legacy. Someone said Michael Edwards, what he's brought to the table. Chelsea historically with Marina, and there's plenty of other examples, really and truly. If we're gonna, we need to do a bit better in that regards. But at the end of the day, we need to deal with what's in front of us. As I said, I'll shut my mouth until the end of the window. Now we have to deal with what we're dealing with. And if we fall short like last year, because the lack of certain players coming in or letting players go and not addressing was played its own little part in us not having the season we would have liked to have people. So they're going to have to hold themselves accountable for such people. Apologies for any technical difficulties you're facing. In the last 2 years, Edu has brought in Partey, Odegaard, Gabriel, Cedric, White, Tomiyasu, Zinchenko, Ramsdale, Sambi, Jesus, Vieira. We're top of the league. We're not top of the league in May. That's all that matters. But you're right. You can't really draw him out. He's played his way into it. Did he bring in? Well, yeah, he helped get Odegaard permanently. Did he bring in Gabriel? I might be wrong, but did he sign Gabriel? Arteta was here, but did he sign Gabriel? It's been a long season with a massive turnover, really. I don't think he's done terrible. I don't think he's done amazing. My biggest pet peeve with Edu, when the pressure's on and you're in that, because your season is the transfer market. When it got to that last period where, all right, we never signed, rightly or wrongly, we didn't get Telemans, Danino's not landing, Ruben Neves, all these guys were linked with, and we're down to that last period. Other technical directors would have got a centre mid. I don't know if it would have been Douglas Luiz or whatever, but they would have made it happen. Like in January, all right, you tried to go for Vlahovic. I like that you're not just signing people for the sake of it. You didn't get him, but you never brought in a striker, and we let people go. Pepe's doing all right at Nice. He did need to go anyways, but you let a man go without getting a body in. And big up Marquinhos and Reece Nelson. You hope they can fill in, but I'm not too sure, man. No, man, are allowed to be positive, but I don't. This is respectfully to Jay. I don't think either people are right. I think you're both right, but the truth is in the middle. I don't think you can be extremely negative. I don't think you can gas it and be extremely positive. Like being top of the league in September don't help us. We start the bloody season in August, top of the league, and we continued well. When we're in May, then maybe, yeah. DG, do you think we are looking for a very specific midfielder as a replacement or backup for Partey? We need a press-resistant mid that can pick a pass and be strong on the ball. Probably, every team's looking for a specific sort of player. But, there's thousands of players millions of players across many leagues. You lot are paid to find players. Find the players. Are they here or not? That's you lot's job. I'm sure you're trying. I'm sure you lot are working harder than it needs to be. But once again, football is a results-driven business. 3 points are on the line. If I play well, that doesn't necessarily mean I get 3 points. If you play well for 38 games but don't necessarily win, you're going to get relegated. It's a results-driven business. And like I said, we all share the W's and L's together. For me, obviously, the club make a big song and dance about collaboration and stuff. So whether it's Kroenke, Arteta, Edu, you're all in it together. We all share the W's. We all share the failures, really. And I think the last couple of windows start off positive and then kind of end not on a negative note, but for want of better terms, a negative note. Would give Edu 5 out of 10. Signed well recently, but selling is our Achilles heel. Playing devil's advocate, he took over a rotten squad post Raul Sanye. Potentially, but was it really a rotten one when I think about it? I hear that, but at the same time, these players are gone now. For the last 12, 18 months, that has been Mikel Arteta and Edu's squad. Anyone that has been there, is his guys. Saliba didn't kick a ball. That was a present for you. Saka was a present for you. Smith Rowe was a present for you. You did use a couple of other players historically. I'd probably give him a 5 out of 10 as well. If he left tomorrow, I don't think it would have been amazing. I don't think it would have been terrible. I just think it would have been underwhelming where you could have done a lot more, really. But that's my thinking behind it. 52 likes, people. Appreciative. Hopefully we get more views next week, but it's been a tough period for YouTube, isn't it? It's quite clear City will win the league. Pep is just an elite of a manager. He'll win that league every year while he's there. He's different level, plus Haaland, scary times. Money club, though, not proper fans. I don't know about any of that. And I know if I was a City fan, I wouldn't quite give a monkeys, but, all that matters is winning. He cleansed the squad in 2 years, man. Acting like it took 5 years. We do need to win Champions League, man. It should, but we're nowhere near being a champion. Well, we're not a Champions League club at this moment, you know. What we need to do is be consistent over 38 games, you know. Make sure when you get to the latter stages of European competition, you're able to keep your bottle, which we have failed against Atletico, against Olympiacos across 2 legs, against Villarreal, against Chelsea in the final. We never turn up. And this is why, for me, we need to do as well as we can in the league and Europa, because there will come a time where, are we going to do this Europa League thing for Champions League, or are we going to do this thingy thing, you know, trying to get the Premier League? Most clubs above us that are doing good things, you know, they target every cup, but we need to give ourselves chances. But there's always negatives and positives. Ultimately, it only really matters where you start and finish in this football team. After watching United game, I think there's a few players in the Sheriff team that could do a job in the Premier League. What's your thoughts? I didn't watch it, so shout to Sancho for scoring. But yeah, man, I don't know. Get the likes up. If you're new here, make sure to sub. Road to 50,000. Shout out the Bronx and all the American ones. So, yeah, man. I think Smith Rowe is overrated. Less of that. I mean, whether you think he's good or overrated, that's cool. I think Smith Rowe's a decent player. Just keep doing your job, man. If no one rates him, how can you be overrated? Every flipping Arsenal player is overrated. You know? As I always say, I don't tell you like what to think. Just think. If that's your opinion, then fair enough. Can't lie, I'm never. Well, I said a bloody Celtic fan. Big up Celtic, but bloody Celtic fan calling our players overrated. You and Rangers showing your ass in your atmosphere hype and all of them things there, man. Big up Celtic, but fucking hell, leave it out, mate. Leave it. I can't talk about overrated. Man, I'm gassing up Yotta and who's that meaty one? Matt O'Reilly and these shit dons there, bro. Allow fam. Allow me. Big up Smith Rowe, man. It must be through. Sometimes in evolution, you need that first batch of players to kick things off. Maybe Edu is good enough to navigate the transition, but not looking good enough to take it to the next level. And that's what I kind of think with Arteta and Edu potentially. Could you lot be the guys who do what Raul Sanjay and Unai Emery at the time we projected them to do, you know, and then the next guy, whether that's a manager or a technical director, comes in, because there's a decent crop of players. We just need to be less naive with depth, with on the field and many things like that, really. And I do think there's a how do I make it make sense? Like, I do think they get to hide behind this project sort of thing, and that's true. We are doing this project, but once again, 3 points are on the line. I don't think the expectations are as high as I get. I don't get why Edu negativity has come today. What's happened? I don't think anyone's being negative. And Jay, respectfully, if everyone was singing his praises, would you tell people to calm down? People are allowed their opinions. You can be fair, you know. You can't gas people up if you're not going to ask questions. I think all the comments, some harsher, some more kinder, but generally what everybody is saying in the live chat, there's fair points there, man. And for me personally, has a centre mid arrived? Have I been able to stop waffling on YouTube about centre mid? No. So there you have it. Right mid, we only have Bakayo. What if he gets injured? It would be double trouble for us. Then you're going to have to put Martinelli over there and bring Smith Rowe in. Probably play Fabio Vieira there. Give Marquinhos or Reece Nelson opportunities. As I said, I agree with you. Whether it was Rafinha, Neto, and all these other guys who are able to play out there, we should have brought people in. But once the window's shut, this is what we're rolling with. This is what we signed up for until January. Let's hope it's enough. But prepare for the worst, you know, and prepare for the worst, hope for the best setting sort of thing, really, if I'm honest. We've seen this movie before. Same, good start, good for the start, but not enough to continue. And that's why I've always stated this process can't be based surely on Arteta and Edu. It needs to be on the club, and that's where you start to look at the Kroenkes and things. If Partey is fit, he should then start against Brentford come Sunday. We need that 3 points in the bag. Big up Simon. If he is fit, mate, give us all the money, DG. Come on, big up Celtic, but you can't be, you know, big up Celtic, but you can't be calling my players overrated. Celtic, you know, we'd bloody win the league if we was in Scotland. I'm confident of that. You see Glenn Kamara the other day, Rangers hype as well. Good thing Tini and Tommy Asu are fit. Hopefully that is the case, man. Bottling top 4, nothing sufficient enough to mitigate that. Finn squad, no backup striker, all right mid, all centre defensive mid. Surprising that we're not looking at midfielders but linked with 2 wingers for January. I really don't understand the board sometimes. Like, we're fans, we don't have access to medicals and all those details, and we can see that our squad is too thin. And I don't think Arteta and Edu are stupid. They've seen it as well. So I can only judge on what you've made happen. Same way I'm giving you praise for Zinchenko and Jesus. Same way, if everyone's fit, I want midfielders. And you know it's going to be extreme. There's an Arsenal tax with injuries in every season, regardless of if there's COVID, if there's World Cups, whatever. We know we have a thin squad, and there's an Arsenal tax of bodies dropping like flies. You know, Tomiyasu, Tierney, Vieira, currently Zinchenko and Ben White, allegedly Partey. You know, Ramsdale and Ben White already this season have been playing with little nogs and niggles and things like that. So we know this is a thing. You know, again, if you're a chef and you cut your hand, that just comes with the industry. Injuries are part and parcel, man. I hear that, man. I don't think Smith Rowe gets enough ratings, really and truly. But if you think he's overrated, fair enough. Yeah, you will, dude. Use that money for the players. But yo, DG, bro, you're speaking a bit mad there. Arteta and Edu where midfielders makes no sense, which is why I have to, that you're betting on either these players are good enough if fit to go where we need to go, or you think the squad is able to mitigate against that. And, you know, again, Lokonga needs to fix up on himself, but he didn't buy himself for 20 million. You identified a player that had scope to grow into the project, and it does take time to develop players, but get a tune out of him. That's all you can do. You need to nurture players. There's all point, you know, why I think we need some experienced players. You can sign all these players for tomorrow, and I'm not expecting to wake up tomorrow and see Martinelli, Smith Rowe, Saka, Lokonga, Saliba, Gabriel, Ramsdale, Ben White, even Tomiyasu's 22. All of these sort of guys. I'm not expecting them to be the finished article overnight. It takes time. Old habits die hard. But you can't sign players with potential and not make active steps to getting them there. And Arteta and Edu need to get a tune out of players. Southgate doing Benny Blanco dirty. Can't we move in silence? Apparently he's got a knock, which makes me feel a bit better in that regards. But yeah, man, I'm a bit upset for Martinelli and Ben White in particular. Smith Rowe can't have any complaints. He's not in the England squad. I think Gabriel Martinelli should be in the Brazil squad, but it is what it is. It means our players maybe, just maybe, have a chance of becoming, you know, resting themselves and staying fit. Subscribe, pardon me, with Amazon Prime for free to support the channel. I really think we need Douglas, Luiz, and Mudruk in our team. Seriously, pardon me, getting hiccups. Arteta couldn't stop banging on about needing more players. This is on Edu for not getting it done. It's on both of you, obviously. It's on Edu, you know, it's on Edu if that's the case. But boy, I hear is all they tell us is it's a collaborative effort between those two. Make it work. It's everyone. Everybody shares the W's for me at this club. Everyone shares the L's. I'm not here when there's failure to, obviously, if the football is bad, then that's more on our obviously the technical front, that's on Edu. But boy, you know, you lot are in this thing together, is what it is. DG, do you feel the governing footballing bodies have made a haphazard schedule? Teams essentially will play 8-9 games a month. Players will feel strained. Don't you think they could extend the season? Maybe, but I don't think they will. There's no need to do it. Arteta is named manager of the month. DG, thoughts? Has he been named it? Well in, mate. Top of the league. But I hope that managerial curse doesn't ring true, is what I would say. If I'm completely honest with you. Hopefully, it's not a bad omen. 65 likes. Can we keep going? You lot don't appreciate me. Anyways, 350. Let's start looking at what's being said in the papers and all of these sort of things. Let's go from front to back. Oh, it's not even shared the screen with you. So, yeah, in relation to Ben White, people, you know, obviously, this guy, Charles White, who I think it works for the Sun, he has said because Ben White is injured when questioning why he's not in the England squad, and he said he's got a hip and knee knock. So I don't know if that's he can play against Brentford and then he needs to rest, or if that's you're out of the Brentford game, but make of that what you will, people. Apparently, Marquinhos has made the cut of 40 players for the Golden Boy Awards, people. He's not going to win it, obviously, but it's nice to see he's there. You got, for me, it should be either Pedri. Oh, there's some great names there. Pedri, Musiala, Moretti, big up former Guna, Yunus Musa, Valencia now. Obviously, Knopf, obviously, for Frankfurt, was on loan from Dortmund and did quite well for them generally last year. So, big up them. Obviously, Brooke Norton Coffey, Charlie Patton have been called up to the England under-20 side. I think Balogun is in the under-21 side. Charlie's just got back fit and recently came off the bench in Blackpool's 3-0 defeat against Rotherham. I will do a loan report video, so make sure you've got your notifications on the things. But big up Charlie getting into the England squad, man. I know he's played for England at youth level, but I don't think they've been respecting him enough. You lot have been criticising Edu. Apparently, Arsenal chief Edu crazy about Barcelona target with 7 clubs eyeing January move. What the hell are they talking about here? Edu will look to rival the likes of Barcelona and AC Milan for the services of Eintracht Frankfurt midfielder Jasper Limstrong in the January transfer window. According to reports, the Gunners spent wisely to improve their ranks with a number of exciting summer additions in pre-season, but have been tipped to return to the market when the bidding reopens at the turn of the year. Obviously, apparently, Lindstrom has enjoyed a stellar breakthrough campaign with Frankfurt over the course of last season. The Danish prodigy, as it says here, scored 5 goals and registered 9 assists in all comps, people, 22 years of age. So he ties in with what we're doing. And naturally, if you're doing a madness, he's got 3 goals in all comps and he netted against Marseille this week. If you're doing that, you're going to, like Mudruk over there for the Ukrainian Shakhtar, you're going to get a lot of teams monitoring you. Just because scouts are watching doesn't mean someone's necessarily going to buy. Arsenal are unlikely to be the only club in the frame to land Limstrong at the turn of the year, though, assuming Frankfurt want to let him go, with many as 6 other clubs weighing up moves for the midfielder. As things stand, Barcelona, Milan, Juventus, Roma, Manchester City and Bayern Munich have also been keeping tabs on the individual people. Frankfurt are unlikely to consider selling Limstrong for anything less than 17 million as a result of his importance to their plans. I mean, 17 million is not the maddest, but yeah, man, whether you believe that or not is a different thing. As we said, Ben White allegedly has picked up a knock. Big up Beth Mead. That was for my personal reading. Arsenal handed Gabriel Jesus injury concern with massive problem in top 4 race. Hopefully, Mr. Luke is just over sensationalizing the headlines. Oh, well, it's Paul Merson. If Gabriel Jesus gets injured, I think we all know the dangers if he gets injured, so I'm not going to bore you lot with that. Yesterday, we did hear Arsenal are set for transfer hijack as Newcastle prepares 17 million deal for out-of-contract star. Apparently, they're rumoured to be rivaling us for Yuri Telemans, people. Whether they're able to do that's another thing. £17 million bid from Newcastle. We do hope Leicester, as well as Aston Villa in Douglas Luiz's case, are doing the January discounts thing, so we'll have to see how that one develops. What is all of this? Arsenal dealt blow as Ukrainian FA confirms Zinchenko injury time frame, people. And it couldn't have happened at a better time. He is set for a small injury layoff after picking up a calf problem in training at London Coley. And he's had a couple of knocks already in his Arsenal career. You know, it was touch and go for the United game. I'm sure he missed the game before that or whatever. Apparently, they have said the Arsenal player suffered a calf muscle injury during training at the club, which will require about 2 weeks for treatment and recovery. Zinchenko immediately personally informed the head coach of the Ukrainian national team of the unfortunate news by calling him. We wish Saska a speedy recovery. And, you know, it's national honor, and that I think very few players would turn down the chance to represent their nation. So it must be something serious where he's concerned, people. Moving away from that, well, that's my Twitter account. Dean Jones of Give Me Sport has said, I think we can expect Arsenal to maintain their interest in Danilo, who they had set as a top tier target, better yet, heading into the summer window. There was a temptation to try for him, but they are content they'll lead the way for him next year. Hope so, but make sure you get the player, man. And again, in relation to Mudruk, Juventus are still in the running for Ukrainian international Mudruk, who has already been approached in recent months. However, Arsenal have the advantage over him. I think they mean over them, although the competition from Nice should not be underestimated, whether that's true or not. Fabrizio Romano said there are many clubs in the race to sign him. When I was speaking to my sources during the summer about Mudruk with clubs around Europe, they told me from Shakhtar they really think this guy is worth way more than 30 million. And the more he keeps impressing, the more he's going to be worth. I think in the future, there's a chance for Arsenal, not only Arsenal. In August, they had some conversations with the agents of Mudruk, but then when they knew about the price tag, way more than 30 million euros, they decided not to bid. And it's only going to go up, isn't it, people? In relation to the England squad, Ben White and Smith Rowe, we all know Smith Rowe was never going to make that. Ramsdale and Saka have been called up. Ben White and the rest haven't. The squad in full, if you don't know, Dean Henderson, Nick Pope, saving the best goalkeeper till last, Aaron Ramsdale, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Ben Chilwell, Connor Cody, Eric Dyer, Mark Gurley, Reece James, Harry Maguire, Luke Shaw, John Stones, Tomori, Trippier, Kyle Walker. In midfield, Mason Mount, Jude Bellingham, Calvin Phillips, Ward-Prowse, and Declan Rice. Up front, or attacking options, or listed as attacking options, Tammy Abraham, Gerard Bowen, Phil Foden, Ivan Toney, Raheem Sterling, Harry Kane, Jack Grealish. If I haven't said Bowen already, and saving the best till last, Bukayo Saka. So yeah, what's this? Arsenal approach tipping point after latest. This is out of control. Arsenal are approaching a tipping point because of fixture cancellations and complications thrown up by the Winter World Cup. That is the view of medical expert Ben Dinnery. We knew this was a thing. This isn't something unique to Arsenal. We've got no excuses. I don't know who Football Insiders... the guys allegedly meant to say it's difficult because the season is very stop-start. You need to maintain those levels of fitness when you're not overloading the players. 1 week, you're going to be playing fixtures every 8 days. Then you have these breaks. It's feast and famine. It's that downtime where you really need to focus and manage the players. I think this season is going to throw up some really interesting insights in terms of data. We won't fully understand the impact of schedule changes, congestion, or the World Cup until June or July. It just feels like this is the latest carnation of a season that has been hit by factors outside of the players and staff's control. But you can control the variables that you can control, and that's making sure you have a big enough playing squad. You have to commend the backroom team for their work so far, but at some point there's going to be a tipping point. You can't keep on getting through and managing players because it's going to catch up to you. Arsenal have recruited well, but they are not blessed with a massive squad. They're a little bit stretched in terms of availability, so it's great to have a chance to rest, but at what cost does this come further down the line? There you have it. World-class forward scores yet again after Arsenal and Tottenham snub. Who? The ball, allow it, man. What a way of sensationalized headlines. You lot are saying that Arteta has won manager of the month. Nuno Tavares, Arsenal loanee, has won player of the month at Marseille. I'm still not convinced with his performances defensively. When I've seen him in Europe against Spurs and Frankfurt, he hasn't done amazing. He hasn't done necessarily bad. Still yet to see him improve defensively, but he's doing quite well. So shout out to him. That's the whole point of going out on loan. Apparently, Lacazette is to undergo surgery on his vocal cords, people. As you lot all know, his voice was breaking up and things. So we wish our former Arsenal striker a speedy recovery in that regards. If I close Google Chrome for a second, people, and open up The Athletic, they had something in relation to Emil Smith-Rowe, who's another one of the injury boys. Smith-Rowe will not rush return, but talent means he's still a huge asset for Arsenal. I mean, you're 22. Yeah, you might miss a World Cup. Yeah, we might miss you, but get it right. There's no point in him coming back half fit and getting injured again, and that goes for several players. Big up himself, man. But this is the highs and lows of a footballer. You was on cloud 9, number 10 shirt, scoring, double figures in the Prem, called up with England. This is what happens. Adversity. It's never a career. You're not just going to go like that and it's going to stay like that for a year. There's going to be adversity. Look at Trent. Best thing since sliced bread, having a struggle now. Look at Saka, missed a penalty. There is adversity. If there be rain, there'll be sunshine. Where there's sunshine, rain will come. Don't get too excited when things are going well. Don't feel too bad on yourself when things are going bad. Keep that level-headedness, much like in life, let alone football. Where's the actual thingy, man? Really and truly. I mean, we're going to probably have to read this. 9 months on from that talk has quieted substantially in some ways. The 22-year-old misfortune somewhat hinged on that international break of November 2021. Prior to making his England bow, he started 10 of Arsenal's 11 PL games. Of the remaining 27, he started only 11. Injuries were not a real problem. He only failed to make the squad for 3 of Arsenal's 38 top-flight matches. The biggest issue was the emergence of Martinelli as a regular on the left-hand side. So let's see. In another respect, Smith-Rowe was a victim of his own success. He demonstrated the capacity to be an effective substitute at one stage, scoring in 3 consecutive PL games, having started from the bench against West Ham, Leeds and Norwich. It spoke to his football intelligence, but Smith-Rowe would doubtlessly have preferred to be in the starting 11. Like everyone, everyone should want it. This season has started slowly for Smith-Rowe. Again, a pre-season injury meant he began this campaign out of contention. He's yet to start any of Arsenal's 6 games. There's still 30-odd. Thus far, he has played just over a half's worth of football. It's now 11 starts from 33 league games since his England debut. This time around, Smith-Rowe's physical condition has been a factor in his absence. The Athletics' David Ornstein reported seeing him pull up in the warm-down after Arsenal's last Premier League game against Manchester United, people. The good news from Arsenal's perspective is that Smith-Rowe is not suffering with a muscular injury. He is experiencing pain in his groin related to growth. That's something you can't control. He has suffered with this injury before during his loan spell at Leipzig, which restricted him to just over half an hour's football in half a season in Bundesliga. Although this is not classified as an injury per se, Smith-Rowe's situation does require careful management. He will not be rushed. Although there is no time frame from his return, the club and those around the player do not believe the situation will lead to a long-term absence, nor do they believe it will affect his bid for a World Cup place. I think it has, because I don't think you're going to make the England squad. This is the last international break. Until that, every manager of all this international break, they know who they're bringing and who they're not. And even if it does he break into the Arsenal 11 right now, probably not. If he can keep his pain levels under control, there are some good opportunities on the horizon. Arsenal's Europa League group stage is underway. Arteta has largely tempted towards picking almost identical PL 11s, blah, blah, blah. Then there's a possibility of him playing different positions. We know the man's versatile. The reality is Arsenal needs Smith Rowe in the final weeks of the transfer window. The club were considering moves for both a wide forward and a central midfielder. Ultimately, they were unable to add either. It was disappointing news for Arsenal, but arguably good news for Smith Rowe, who could stand to benefit in both positions. True. Smith Rowe's time with Arsenal and indeed England will doubtlessly come again. The first step is for him to find a way to manage his pain. When he's on the pitch, his quality speaks for itself. Amen. And he did sign a new deal. And obviously Xhaka did call him the future. And I don't know who gassed Aston Villa, but they thought that they could sign our player. And that's maybe why they're not giving us Douglas Luiz. But in relation to everything there, that's that. So yeah, that sets that up. So what are you lot saying? Sorry for airing you lot, man. Big up DG. It's not my thing, but would you do the blonde/silver look? Will be like a new signing when Smith Rowe's fit. I'm positive on Edu, but not his scouting or deal making. I think he's a good salesman when we want to charm a player, and he has good relations with the biggest Brazilian and Portuguese agents. Well, then you need to either he needs to leave and bring a team in, or he needs to recruit rightly, you know, in terms of his recruitment team. Edu is good, cleared high wages, some that he brought in, you know, Pablo Mari. I can't hold him for anything, but Pablo Mari, Edu, Willian, anyone else, you know, you don't get brownie points for patenting your own stuff, but you're right. Him and Arteta have had to join at a bit of a mad period, but I do think them excuses are kind of running out now. Edu is good, cleared high wages, brought in good players. He's not great. He don't have the hustle spirit. A hustler shots players and gets peas. That gets that player that turns good transfer window into a great one. DG, I'm watching Liga and Balogun is fire. He's improved his physicality, using his body well, plus has become a good and decisive passer of the ball, and most importantly, scoring. And that's what we need people to go out and do and learn. If we were in the Champions League, would have got the players in we needed. I don't know, man. I don't know. You know, I don't know. Maybe if we were better footballers, we might be footballers. I can only deal with reality, man. We know what happened last time. Arteta won manager of the month. We need to sign a centre mid pronto. Why is Arsenal having all these injuries? Funny enough, the injuries occur in training. Should it be of concern to our future and how the trainings are done? I guess so, and I can't begrudge fans if they do believe that, because it is a concern. It is a concern. What are we doing or aren't doing in training or the rehab with players? I don't know. I can't tell you. I think Smith Rowe will be one of our top players come May, hoping he hits top form at the second half of the season. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Football Manager crew were playing Football Manager at 4:30. Thing about Smith Rowe, Gerrard was like this, I think, as well. So was Lampard. Not too sure on Lampard. I think Smith Rowe needs to go the Goretzka way. I mean, if we can shout Bayern Munich and whatever supplements they're giving their players, I'm on that. Because it wouldn't surprise me, just for argument's sake, if Smith Rowe and Thomas Partey left Arsenal, for argument's sake, if they never got injured again. Such is life. So there clearly is something we need to operate better, but how we do that, what we do in that regards, I wish I had an answer, people. I don't actually know. 77 likes. Can we get to 1,000? A man said 1,100. Looking at views. Hopefully Zinchenko and White come back sooner. As for Jan, I hope Edu is sorting that out. Amen. Amen. Think Edu's done well. It's Arteta with the final say, DG. Well, this is where I said I don't know. We can think, but we don't know. This is why everybody shares the W's. When you do well, everyone. When you do bad, everyone's got a hold thingy. For me, Edu, you're in charge of the technical front. I don't believe Arteta didn't want a centre mid, so I think it's more of a failure of you able to get things done. But if Arteta believed in his squad a bit too much, didn't think we necessarily needed to move for a midfielder, and Edu was saying something different, then it's that, innit? I don't know. Unless one of them comes out. All I know is the club keeps saying we're doing, you know, it's a collective. We're doing it in conjunction with each other. So everybody shares the W's. Everybody shares the L's. You know, when me and my cousins and that used to mess around at my grandma's house and someone broke something, my grandma, everyone got beats. It's not a he say, she say, bro. More time it was actually me and I wasn't owning up. Everyone's going down with me, but everyone has to share the W's. There's no I in teams. You know, if Saka plays well, but the other 10 players played shit, man can't sit here and we lose. Man can't sit here and say, well, Saka played well. You can, but we never got 3 points. It's a team game. So hopefully Zinchenko's back in 2 weeks. Hopefully Smith Rowe's back sooner rather than later. Hopefully we never get no injuries. Hopefully when Jan comes, we bring people in. But reality is we need to deal with what's in front of us, in which we are, the injuries are mounting up. And as soon as certain people come back, other people are going to be gone. We don't, in my opinion, have a strong enough depth to really get top 4. But I still, regardless of this, no matter how impossible it sounds, you need to go and do that. Because if we're just going to give up, forget about it. From now till Jan, this is what we're dealing with. Whether we look back in May and this is where what made us stronger or weaker for top 4, I don't know. Did we learn from last season? Probably not. But this is what we have to deal with. And they have to take the W's and the L's. You know, if anyone wants to praise Arteta and Eddie for such, I can't say anything. But if anyone's got question marks, rightly so, I can't say anything either. No one's guilty of not making mistakes. So we'll have to see what gone, quite frankly. Big up you lot for your comments, man. Novice American owners, novice club director of football, novice manager, novice performance. Bit harsh. Very harsh. Crazy. So, yeah, man. Hopefully that answers everyone. Smith Rowe needs that Goretzka food or drugs. But, yeah. To get your DG merch, Nightbot, plug that up. Problem, I remember, is in the last few days of the window that until the Partey and El Nene injuries, Arteta wanted a winger. Well, if he wanted that, then he's going to have to hold the finger. You need both. That's my pet peeve. You know, if we need an 8 and a 6, it's always we're going to get an 8 or a 6. It's never just get both. Pardon me. You need a winger and a centre mid. Get both. I know it's easier said than done, but get both. There's no either or. It's crazy, man. So, yeah, we're going to have to deal with what we need to deal with. Simple as that. There's nothing else, really. There's nothing else we could say. I don't know if you lot believe this, people, or any credibility in the Scum newspaper, but apparently North London derby chaos. Arsenal versus Tottenham at risk as all 12 rail companies plot another strike on October the 1st. Strike. It might be an inconvenience to fans and stuff like that, but strike, because the government and all these people are taking a piss with what they're doing in England. So strike. Get what you need to do. Don't stop striking until things happen. Of course, that's going to inconvenience a lot of people, but strike. But again, from a purely footballing perspective, that doesn't help Arsenal if this game gets backdated, because rightly so, we've got injuries this season. We started earlier. You know, it took us longer to have an international break. We don't know the effects of the World Cup. We don't know what the fixture schedule list is going to be for the World Cup. We don't know how the players that return from the World Cup are gonna be. We don't know what the other 20 players are going to do. We're going to have to deal with this. Every football club on the best of days should, in my opinion, expect the unexpected. Definitely in the last 2 years, 18 months, where you've had COVID, games being suspended for a variety of reasons. The variables you can control is having enough players. You know, there is a reality where everyone drops like flies. But yeah, obviously, hopefully it doesn't happen so fans can go and see that. But if it is, then things are more important than football. And I believe the real thing is in it, Carl. They're boying it. But it could be, people. Commuters are in for even more travel misery as train drivers are set to strike again. Train drivers at 12 rail companies are planning to walk out on October the 1st and 5th, amid a long-running dispute over pay. Got rightly so. Rightly so. Go and do your thing. And we host our neighbours the day the planned strikes are set to start. That will be at 12:30. And that could mean that the Premier League police and safety chiefs could be forced into moving that fixture. And obviously that causes further headache because Man City's got to be rescheduled. Everton has to be rescheduled. PSV's been rescheduled. And we don't know whatever games are going to happen in the future that are going to be rescheduled. So there's no excuse, man. Big up Mikel Arteta for getting manager of the month. Deservedly so. We're top of the league. You know what? Of the 5 games we played, we've lost 1. Is what it is. But it's not where you start. It's where you finish. Did Nuno Espirito Santo not get that? So big up Arteta. It shows it can be done. But football's a funny old game, man. Keep going, because it's only going to get tougher and tougher and harder and harder. Simple as that. So big him up, big up the players, because as much as it's on Arteta, he's a facilitator. Shout out to his coaching staff. Shout out to the players as well. That's an award for everybody. So big up him. I would have given it Graham Potter personally. Take nothing away from Arteta. I just think Graham Potter, well, he's at Chelsea now, innit? But he was moving mad. I don't think there's a single, I think Saliba and Gabby Jesus have been nominated, but I don't think there's a single player that should get it if your name's not Erling Haaland. But it's a good look. You'd rather them be there than massive think pieces over all the websites about where's it all gone wrong for Arsenal and all of that jazz. So big him up for such. Get your talking points in, people. You lot make the platform. The revolving circus. Hi, DG. We tend to play with inverted wingers. If we got a big striker, we can then have our wingers switch sides to cross the balls into the box, an extra dimension. I hear you, but unpopular opinion, we should be doing that anyways, both in terms of crossing the ball, providing, for me, Gab Jesus with clear-cut chances, which I don't think we do, and wingers should be swapping flanks more frequently. Kismativ had some recognition ceremony today at work, just tuning in. The title of the video got me face palming. What's happening to the gang? Dropping like flies, but we're gonna have to deal with it, man. I'm not really scared. Obviously it makes you nervous and things, but we've been watching the Premier League. We know what's gonna happen, and I've been talking on my YouTube channel about this. So I'm disappointed, but I'm not surprised. I'm more, all right, we know the problem. Let's deal with some sort of solution. The real solution is to get something done in January. What's the current solution now? Whether that's getting a tune out of Lokonga, putting Fabio Vieira, Zinchenko, who's now injured, or whatever in midfield to mitigate against Partey's injury, who might be coming back for the Brentford game. This is something they had to consider. They had to consider, if we cannot get players in, we have to deal with what we're dealing with. And even with all the injuries last season, we still could have bagged top 4. We failed for different reasons. So as much as it's looking bleak, I don't want to see no one at this football club giving up on anything, because if we're giving up, everyone might as well F off home. Shout out my guy Rafael. DG, big up, brother. In my opinion, we need another plan B striker to give us a new dimension, a tall target man. As soon as we bring one in, we can almost guarantee top 4. Who is this? I'm not sure. Suggestions, I'm not too sure. If you could go find a Giroud profile. He's not a target man, but if you could get Rafael for the squad, it'd be lit. I don't think it would guarantee us top 4. It'd make us a lot stronger. But yeah, why not? You've got Eddie, who's doing well off the bench, Jesus, who's fitting us like a glove, but you would like someone that's a bit different with them. Jesus, hold up play for it is quite good, even though he's not the biggest, but if you could get someone, why not? Problem is, should have sorted midfield long time ago. Hopefully both come back soon. Amen. I heard Partey's completely fixed, so I ain't worried about left back too much. Left back? When did Partey play left back? For me, it's about staying fit. How long am I going to stay fit? Because the Partey thing, I'm not really hopeful on it. You're going to come back, play a couple games, and then, when the fixtures are coming thick and fast, are you able to do this thing? And maybe for Arteta and Edu, if you know that you've got players that are injury-prone and sick notes, all right, get the squad, because then you can rest the Partey, potentially Zinchenko, potentially, Saka and Smith Rowe, who at periods have gone on goal droughts or where they've not been performing. They're young men, and we're expecting them to pull this club for the vast majority of 38 games. Obviously, we've brought in some players to assist, but any single club doesn't. If you rely on one single player, you're in problems or a set. PSG don't even solely rely on Mbappe, Messi, and Neymar. They're good. But there's other players who chip in. City are not just relying on Haaland. Way before Haaland done the Ibra thing, it was unlikely hero in John Stones, and you've got people around them. It's unrealistic to expect one man to just do this thing. And if you do, you're in trouble. So let's hope we're not. But right now, it's looking mad. And so obviously, when you rest these players, you can bring them back fresh. So I don't know, man, but we're going to have to see. 8 more likes and we've got 100 people. One love for you lot doing up that one. Zinchenko's injured though for 2 weeks, bro. But Tierney's there. Don't quite get that one, but shout out to you. Big up the man them and the galley locked in as well. I'm suspicious if Partey was even injured, to be honest. There were vague on the details that he didn't appear at the games. I mean, unless there's the off-field stuff, why would they lie about him being injured? But I do agree with what you're saying in that 1 minute he's out for time, then he's ahead of schedule. Seen this story before, man. When Partey, as much as he's a quality player, when I can see Partey start for 10 games on the spin or play 20 of the 38 games, or in an ideal world 30, then it's a myth, man. So we'll have to see how that one goes, really and truly, people. So we're going to have to see, man. We'll have to see. So can we sign that Chelsea physio or something, maybe? Zinchenko is iffy defensively. Yeah, he's a midfielder by trade. Saying not worried about left-back TONEY being overused, and we know where that story goes. I don't even believe Partey being fully fit nowadays. Subscribe with Amazon Prime for free to support the guy. Make sure you're following on Twitch as well, people. One love for you lot supporting across both platforms. Haaland set a new Prem record already. Has to be him. Bro, the man's ridiculous. Like, can't panic, though. Every team will get injuries at times. It's down to us to take advantage of that when it comes. Sambi, TONEY, Tomiyasu, time to prove your worth. You know, listen, big up the Flying Scotsman. You know, TONEY don't have to prove his worth. You know what he's on. Tomiyasu the same. Sambi, you're my guy, but I'd say if anyone has to prove anything, it's you, innit? But again, you're right. Everyone's got to do their thing. As long as those injuries aren't long-term, I'm not too worried. But again, if you're out for 2 weeks, 1 month, 3 weeks, a week, 10 days, this all adds up individually for players, and then it all adds up when we look back in May. You know, already, you know, so you look at Smith Rowe and Fabio Vieira, they never had a preseason, so they're starting from zero. El Nene's going to have to want to come back. Partey had a good preseason, part of our early stuff. He's injured. Zinchenko's picked up 2 knocks at Arsenal already now. Minor knocks, but knocks nonetheless. You know, Tomiyasu, it looks like for me, was being a bit slow with managing his build-up because we're not trying to get a relapse of these injuries. And there'll be other players who get injured. Injuries are part and parcel of the game. But this is why I said the one variable you can control is making sure you have options. Same way, if Ben White, who's ironically might be injured now, and Zinchenko, you can slap Tomiyasu and TONEY in there. Cool. I don't want to do what we've been doing for years and say, oh, if we had this player, if we had that player, then maybe, you know, we could have done something. They have been here not long enough now. It's annoying because none of us trust the board/coach to push for signings in January. Arsenal always take too long to do what needs to be done. Sambi just needs time. He won't be Partey quality just yet, but he can be with good mins and confidence built. Amen. And I agree. But the harsh reality, when I remove that development cap on, we're trying to get top 4. You need to show your business now. Do I think we should be putting all our hopes on Lokonga? Do I think it's fair? Do I think some fans scapegoat him? Of course. But then again, top 4 is all that matters. And maybe if you had better players or more experienced players, we're stronger to that. As much as we've got a young squad we're trying to develop, the league's not going to wait a couple of years. We need to get top 4 now and do better than that. And experienced players that you're going to get more consistency from, can guarantee you that, as we said earlier, when you play young players, you have to sign up for as good as Saka, Smith Rowe, Martinelli can be. They're not going to score chances that maybe could impact the game. Defenders are going to do dumb shit. Midfielders are going to have brain farts. But it is what it is, really. Even if that Danilo brother signs for us in January, he's got good potential, clearly, from what you can see. But it'd be naive to expect someone to impact us mid-season, and it wouldn't be fair to pin all your hopes on that, in my opinion. As much as I want him or any midfielder arriving. A 6, to be honest, I would look into the window and get another and an 8. Bro, if everyone was fit, and it's not me, I think you need 2 8s and a 6. If every midfielder is fit. I feel Xhaka could be used as a rotation option, and he's quite durable. I think if you need 2 number 8s, I think if you have a 6, you know, beyond that, it's your business what you're doing with El Nene, Partey, and Lokonga in that regard. Even minor injuries disrupt the flow and rhythm of the club development, especially if you don't have like-for-like replacements. Again, you're right, and you do have to slightly change the dynamics of how you play. People underestimate the quality you need to play centre mid for a top club. Sambi has years of development ahead of him. Amen. It's short-term pain for long-term gain. How long before you think we can start a season as genuine title contenders? When you can tell me that Arsenal have the squad, when you can tell me what you can expect from Arsenal in 10 games, when you can fully trust the management and the technical director. When I can see how good Arsenal are at their worst, when I can see better game management and less naivety, when I can have full confidence going into games against top 6 sides or any game away from home. When we can answer that, then whenever you can answer that, that will be my answer. What do you make of Conte ball and where it will take them this year? Conte, will get them over the line. But I don't think the way they're playing and trying to slug through results is sustainable. This is why I think it's open season for everybody. You know, I think it's open season for top four, apart from City. Liverpool look shaky. United have looked good and shaky. We have looked good, but there's still question marks. Spurs are getting over the line, turning over games in the last 15 minutes. No one looks convincing. It's open season. This is why I'm saying, man, grab 3 points. The great thing we did going into that United game, we fucked up and we should not have lost that game. And it's disappointing through many aspects. But all right, cool, you lost that. You've done everything you could to maximize points. You've given yourself a floor, and we will drop points. We will lose games again. We're getting into a mad tough period. You got Brentford away. I know we just talked about potential rail strikes, but you've got Brentford away. Inform Ivan Toney called up by England. You saw what they did to United. If I'm Brentford, if you can savage that United team with Ten Hag, you're going to want to move to Arteta, especially because you did it the first game of last season. After that, you've got Spurs. It's a mad thing. Look at this guy, man. Big up you United fans. Fair enough. You did a get back. Seeing Hellerman dropping makes me low-key appreciate Xhaka's durability and availability. It's true. This is why I said he should be there for the rotation. I'm hoping we can get someone that can give Saka a break and still do damage for us. But them man there, where it's come with, you got to put down the P's. No one wants to, in theory, sell good players. So you've got to give people offers they can't refuse. Do you think Haaland's a quality player? But if you ask businessmen like City, which these people essentially are, you think they wanted to pay 80 odd and give him them wages? You think they wanted to pay? You think Chelsea wanted to pay 60 odd for Cucurella? It's not always deals. You have to put the money down. And we've seen that with Rafinha, with Pedro Neto, with Ruben Neves, with a few years ago with Zaha, with potentially Mudruk in January. Put the money down and you don't get the dons. Yes, sometimes there's deals. You know, you can get Zinchenko for a decent a bit of funds. You can do a little deal for Jesus. There are deals, but they're too far and beyond. I personally think we get Douglas Luiz for 20-25 million if you start tapping him up, pause, and them things there in the last 2 weeks versus the last day of the window. Current squad only getting top. I don't know what they're doing because as much as I love this team and I bet in them, I don't know. What I do know is nothing's assured. Man, them have to fight. Fight for. I'm an Arsenal fan. Fight for FA Cup. I want to get to the final of the Europa League. I don't care who drops in from the Champions League. United obviously want to do the same. It doesn't matter. You can't be in Europe and not expect to play big teams. I don't think since we've won the FA Cup, we've been respecting it enough. We need to go to the finals. Top four is all I really, obviously I want trophy. In theory, you know, all that matters is trophies, but top four has to be the priority. You have 38 tries of that. You need to show that obviously there's going to be good or worse periods in the season, but you need to show the vast majority of it is enough to get over the line. If not, then we need to ask questions of technical staff, of the gaffer, potentially of certain players. Because there's always 1 step forward, 2 steps back, 3 steps in front. Movement isn't always progress. I do think we're progressing, but it needs to be more accelerated, in my opinion. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Big up Maverick. Big up DG in each and every time. We definitely need both a centre mid and a winger. Where's your comments gone? It's still on screen though. If this were Football Manager, I'd want an 8-6 winger and right back. I've already said in an ideal world, I would like 2 8s, a 6. I'd like another centre half for depth purposes. I would like a right back and a left back to have the best of both worlds in that. Zinchenko and Tierney, Ben White and Tomiyasu, and a next don on both sides. I'm not too sure about a backup goalie. And if you could, a striker that's a bit different. And obviously, if I haven't made it clear, winger. We look like we were way more focused on the left wing option. Neto, Mudruk, and Ferran Torres. To be fair, Ferran Torres been playing up front for Barca. Neto's on that could have been an option on the right or a left. Midfield needs to be a thing. You know, Smith Rowe can have a future as an 8. Him, Odegaard, Zinchenko, Vieira, they should all be groomed into being able to play there. But we still need more natural pivot men, if that makes sense. I don't know if my opinion is right, Jay, but I appreciate that. Your opinion is right, DG. We make things hard for ourselves, probably due to being tight with money. I hear that, but then you're willing to bid 55, maybe bidding for man you know you're not going to get, but you're willing to bid 50 million for Neto, 55 million for Rafinha. Different period, but willing to drop the bag on Vlahovic. So there's clearly bread there when they're convinced. Top teams, including Chelsea and Spuds, looking like they might drop from Champions League to Europa. There's a lot of football to be played in the group stages, but unpopular opinion, I want them to join us, really. Europa won't be that easy to progress, let alone win. Nothing worthwhile comes easy. Invincibles, you know, all of these things were not easy, but you've got to relish competition, bro. You're not just going to play a bunch of nobodies. Man are not going to play Glint every week. Who are we buying? Bro, one sec. Hello, Edu. What are you saying, my bro? I know the transfer window's closed, but are we grabbing a midfielder? I beg you drop me Douglas Luiz's number. Let me chat to him. Swear. All right, Zinchenko like a new signing. All right, cool. So yeah, just come off the phone to Edu, my guy. And that's what he said. I can't wait to see us play against Brentford. Feels like a while since we played last. I hear that. Ferran Torres would have been a decent one for us as well, but Xavi vetoed it. And you can, you can try as much as you want to get Dons in. If you don't get them in, it's an issue. Marquinhos at some point will probably play in the Premier League. I don't know how many minutes or substantial minutes, but yeah, now's the perfect time to get top four with Liverpool and Chelsea looking shaky. As I always say, be wary of drawing conclusions. There's been 6 Premier League games, but this is why you need to take advantage of things. Again, it's open season. Right now, it looks like there's 3 vacancies for top 4. And top 4 essentially is a battle for the inconsistent. Chelsea were inconsistent last year. They were better than everyone else. Largely United, Spurs and Arsenal were fighting for top 4 because they were inconsistent across the course of the season. Spurs won the race. We finished 5th, let ourselves short. United finished behind that. So you're right. But you need to control the variables at some point. There was times last year where teams were dropping points. Then we went and dropped points. And that goes for everyone. Everyone's got to be able to take points or it's irrelevant. I hope Potter doesn't work out at Chelsea, but I think he will, man, given time. Ross, I wish. I also have Eddie on speed dial set next to him on Ryanair. We need to get more money from selling our players. We sold mass platters and got about 20 mil, not enough. We do. When you look at it, I do think other clubs, and it's easy for me to say, but I do think no matter what you think about Pepe, I do think certain other more experienced guys might have got a decent deal. So you're right, man. Are selling, who have we really sold in the last few seasons? You know, I'm going to exclude Iwobi because he wasn't here. Joe Willock's probably the one you got real decent money for, really. Forgive me if I'm really trying to think. Who got sold for decent money? Joe Willock, really. You could have, under Mikel Arteta, Maitland-Niles could have went to Wolves or Everton for a 20 mil. What's happening there? I'd say Martinez. You know, Imi Martinez went for decent money considering he didn't want to sign a renewal. So Martinez and Willock, not really much more. Chelsea and given time in the same sentence. Johnny, you're right. But then again, Graham Potter's not stupid. You know what you're walking into, innit? You know you're walking a tightrope, man. We used to say on this channel, I'm sure you were there, Tuchel could win the Champions League, which he did, and he could very well get sacked. Ox as well, but that weren't, I'm excluding them because that weren't these man's regime. As I said, they have inherited bad practices at Arsenal and just things that have been going on for years, but there's also problems they've made of their own. No one's blameless. No one's 100% guilty. No one's 100% innocent. No one's not made any mistakes. The players, Edu, Kroenke, the rest of it. As I always say, we win and lose together. We're in this together, man. When we lose, I don't like when fans do this. Oh, it's that player, it's this player. Bro, we all lost. We all win. Of course, if I'm playing centre half and I give it back to Ramsdale and it's an underhit pass and the striker goes and takes it and they win 1-0, of course. But that's the segment that obviously played the part in the game. But away from that, that's a 2-minute flashpoint across a 90-minute game. In the 80 odd minutes, what did anyone else do? We clearly didn't score, so what did the strikers do? Honestly, DG, I didn't know Jesus was this effective. He's definitely levels about what we had recently, but I think you mean above, but I'm just worried about his goals we need to create for him. Amen. Blame has to be shared, but it's never going to happen, Johnny. Like, it's never going to happen, you know. It's never going to happen. You know, some people are Arteta apologists, so he can do no wrong. Some people hate the man, so he can do no right. Some people, obviously, I would say the Kroenkes have mended their relationships a bit better with fans. There's not really the rioting and ish going on, but some people, it's all them. Some people, it's all Edu. For me, it's all of you, innit? It is all of you. Of course, I can divert certain blame. Like, if we don't get top 4, it's on Arteta. You know, indirectly, it's on Edu as well, and the players, but it's on Arteta. He's the gaffer. If we don't do the business in the transfer market, Arteta, it's not a head coach thing like Emery. You are a manager. I think personally, you have more power in that than Edu. I think Edu's at your whim, really, because at some clubs, the technical director actually signs the players and the manager has no say, or the technical director vetoes what the manager wants. Clearly, we've seen several times where Neto was concerned over Ramsdale with the acquisition of Ben White, with Zinchenko, these sort of things there. It's crazy. So, yeah, it is what it is. in that regards. 112 likes, very appreciative of that, people. Thank you very much for doing such. Exactly. Well, we don't draw too much. we literally win or lose together. We ain't done too many of the drawing thing, but yeah, man. Blame has to be shared, but there's just too much agendas, and I'm no different, of course. Like, I have more time for Arteta than Edu, so I'm going to look at Arteta a bit more calmly. But I always try and remember I'm loyal to the football club. I've been here before you lot. I'm going to be here, and you lot too. You're going to be here after them. Edu's not going to be here forever. Arteta's not going to be here forever. It's not going to be a Sir Alex Ferguson or Wenger thing. You know, the players are not going to be here forever, but the club is, or at least I hope so. So it is where it is, man. Shout out the Kenyans. Big up DG from the motherland. So unfair for the gaffer to drop White and Sancho. Is it about form or favoritism? Because some players he's chosen are benched by their clubs. There's a bit of difference. And to be fair with you, you can't just pick everyone on form. And if I was an international manager, there's some players I'm going to pick. I don't think it's just in terms of on the pitch. There's certain characters in the dressing room. I think that's the luxury that Conor Cody, Maguire and Shaw currently have. They've been part of the camp. You see it at youth level all the time. There's been sometimes for England, big up Charlie Patton, who's called up to under-20s, and a couple of our players. I've been like, why aren't they there? Then I look at the squad. I'm like, okay, it's that manager who managed this. They might be under-19s, for example. That same manager was managing that lad at under-17. So you're going to Scamacca and Paqueta at West Ham. Both these players improve our team. We should have spent the cash on those two. What do you think? I would have liked Scamacca, but it was probably naive to expect. I would have liked Paqueta, even though I don't think he's probably the midfield number 8 we need. And I just think when we got Zinchenko to go with Fabio Vieira and Odegaard, I just think that one there was a myth. But yeah, definitely where Paqueta is involved, would have loved it, man. Hope he don't do too well at West Ham. Last time we was on a draw thing when Sanai Unai was there, we fumbled top 4. Now we never draw. It's crazy. What you said about it's a team loss is perfect. If it's 1-0 loss, what did the strikers do? You can't just blame the blatant fouls. But this is the problem with football. You know, this is the problem with football. It's an emotional game, and your emotion allows you to see what you want to see, and confirmation biases. If I think it's just Arteta, and I go on socials or I talk to my friends who also think it's Arteta, my mind is going to be reinforced. Football's a subjective game, and as I always say on the channel, I don't tell you what to think, just think. Wenger's abilities, whether it's scouting, whether it's project management, clearly when we're doing this young thing, youth development and foresight would be amazing. But I just feel there's too much emotion still present with Wenger, and the wounds are still fresh for him to do it. And if I was Arteta and Edu, I'd welcome him back. In an advisory role. I don't know if I would want him in the boardroom. From a fan's point of view, I would have liked him in there, because I don't think we signed Pepe. I don't think Aubameyang signs a new deal. I don't think Willian signs for this club. I think some players that left stay, but it is what it is. And how can you know, we're trying to move on from Wenger. It's a bit like Man United. I'm sure Ferguson could help them, but how much can you move on where you've got that fantastic symbol of what you used to be continuously over your head? So I do think Wenger should return. You know, if David Dean, if you want to come out of retirement and do this thing, you're the one for me. But boy, it's interesting. Wenger mentioned in that interview he didn't want to be involved with the club since Arsenal wanted to take a new direction. I wonder what new direction Wenger cannot be part of. Boy, really, I don't know. Really don't have a clue, but it's for him to figure out, innit? I guess. What else have we got? Scrolling all the way up. Central midfield, because Partey is not that promising since he's prone to injuries. Shit, it's upset, man. Upsetting. It's upsetting, man. But they're just gonna have to get on with it. Smacker smashed one through the keeper last night for ham and cheese. Would have been useful for us. Yeah, just because of the profile. As I said, when the window's shut, I just hope we began our planning, you know. And as you lot can see here, people, better yet, if you give me a second, you'll be able to see. Big up the coaching staff. 5 wins, 13 goals, top of the table. But it's not where you start, it's where you finish. And I would love to see, I want to see that sort of stuff in May. Come the last 30, game week 38. By then it's all calm. It's where good start, you got to keep going though. So let's hope for the best, but Probably got to expect the worst still. Let's see if there's any other Arsenal-related news. Which I very much doubt there will be, apart from what we've already gone over. Or not. I think I'm capping a bit still. Give me a second, people. We're loading. Boy, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, your gaffer's auntie. Big up Balogun in the under-21 side once again. I'm here for this, man. Anywho, let's make another timestamp there. Get the good old timestamps. Why have I got so many Google Doc sheets open? I don't know. Ask me. I'm not able to tell you. All right. Let's share the screen once again. Closing that. Why is the screen not changing? Once again, if you don't know, again, Zinchenko's probably out for 2 weeks. Again, Ukrainian FA have reported he's picked up a calf injury and he'll be out for 2 weeks, people. He'll miss the game against Scotland. Well, he was already going to miss that due to a yellow card accumulation, so he was suspended. But yeah, 2 weeks. And you hope you're back, really. You know, because we're lucky this week you'll miss. Hopefully we win without you, and then you get another week off and we can have you for whatever comes after that. But boy, pardon me, let's hope there's no setbacks, man. Let's just hope there's no setbacks. If there is, then you don't know how the script is set already. But yeah, that's if you don't know already with Zinchenko. Once again, potential rail strikes could derail the North London derby. I think they should strike. If you genuinely need to strike in it, Carl. This country takes the piss out of the average man and woman. Go and get what you need to get. You know, we live in a world where the fruits, the labor is shared by the people like us at the bottom, and the fruits are shared by the elite. So go and mash up the place. So yeah, that's that. Once again, Arteta got manager of the month for August. Big him up, people. 5 consecutive victories, 13 goals scored, only conceded 4. Is what it is. He's our second manager to win his opening 5 games of a Premier League season. Wenger achieved that. Achieved this record in 2 successive seasons during our invincible era of 03-04. So we'll see. This is the 3rd manager of the month for the boss, who won it 2 times last season in September and March. This time around, he beat Pep, Guardiola, Conte, Graham Potter, and Marco Silva. Big up Arteta. Personally, I think Potter should have won it because I think Brighton were moving mad. But I do think he's a worthy winner as well. And once again, we've been linked with a player. We've been linked with Limstrong of Frankfurt, people, as we've spoken about. You know, he scored in the Europa League against Marseille rather recently. So our scouts who might have been there deployed to watch Nuno Tavares' development might have said a thing. And he's drawing interest from Juventus, Milan, Roma, obviously Arsenal, City, Bayern Munich and Barca. That just means everybody's watching you, really and truly. Apparently, Moussa Diaby is doing quite well in Europe as well off the back of a good season. Moussa Diaby remains subject of heavy interest from Premier League. Officials from several Premier League clubs were in attendance to see Diaby in Bayern Leverkusen's impressive Champions League win over Atletico Madrid. Well, it wouldn't be for fucking Hudson-Odoi, would it? Really? You know, it is what it is. And they have not having the best of campaigns, but scrolling all the way down, 90-minute understands that the RB's performances impressed a number of onlookers representing English clubs. Chelsea are one of the teams who were present, and it's understood they weren't just there to check on low-knee Hudson-Odoi, who played on the opposite flank to the RB, as well as the Frenchman, and he scored in this as well. Also present at the Bay Area were reps from Arsenal, Tottenham, Man City and Newcastle, who have a long-standing interest in DRB. While DRB was at his best against Atletico, a return of 1 goal and 2 assists in 9 games so far has seen him lose his place in Didier Deschamps' French squad for the upcoming internationals, people. Ralph Hasenhüttl has revealed what Arsenal's Ainsley Maitland-Niles must do to succeed at Southampton. Let's see exactly what he said. He's a very good player on the ball, but he has to learn that our game starts when the ball is not with us. What have I been saying? This is something he's never needed to do at clubs he was playing in. But in our football, this is a very crucial part. This is something he still has to learn, and therefore we are investing our time to make him better. He's not a loudspeaker, but he is taking responsibility on the pitch. And when he has the ball, this quality is there to make a big impact in the future of football. He has to add the few parts to his game that he does not have so far, who will help him to do this. In football, it is enough to play 3 or 4 good games, and you're immediately a superstar. This is not how football should be. You should work for a whole year and show you are performing on a high level, and then we can rate this player. Amen. I agree. He has some relationships with players he knows from earlier days, so we can definitely make him better. He then went on to say, because of the whole package we can offer a player, hardworking, a lot of investment in individual worth of a player, and making a lot of time to make them better. We invest a lot of input to help them work on their deficiencies, I think it means, to make them a better player. This is what you definitely get here. I do not know if you can get the highest money or interest from outside. We're a little bit under the radar, but this makes it easier for young players to develop. Like that lad, the German lad, the centre-back, he's done quite well, and he's been called up to the Germany national team. I'm very often the person who tries to keep the interest low, because it's never helpful when you speak after one good game about how big a star he will be. That font is not helping, man. But yeah, that's that, folks, in relation to that. Maitland-Niles must. Oh, sorry, folks. I'll be right back with you lot. Maitland-Niles must do better. That's a timestamp there. Off topic, Ronaldinho or Neymar, are you picking? Neymar's better, but Ronaldinho's better, so Ronaldinho. Why Arsenal players injured all the time, I don't know. Diaby has been horrendous this season. That is crazy talk, DG. I mean, they've been gassing. I've been telling you, lot, like, he's not levels like that. Like, I'll be open to having Diaby at this football club. There's a lot of scope to get to growth, but the level of consistency is not there. Apparently, Klopp said one time Arsenal target Arthur ain't levels at Liverpool, and they're looking to cut the loan spell short. I don't know, where has he said that? DG, thoughts on Ferran Torres? We wanted him at the end of the year. I think he's suffering with some confidence issues, but I would take him. Can play on either flank. Look good as a false 9 when he actually left City. Plays up front for Barca when he does get on the pitch. Resale value, Spanish and that, like our gaffer. Technically Premier League experience and that. We could do a lot worse, but the move got vetoed, so it didn't matter, did it really? It doesn't matter how good or bad he is, so there it is. Man United played awful yesterday. At the moment, Arsenal must be favourites to win the Europa. I don't know until you get to the latter stages. Is Fofana better than Gabriel M? Martinelli as a centre-back, yeah. I don't know if you're talking about Saliba. He needs to go fight Konate at Liverpool and that, man. My star boy centre-back gets called up. Usain Bolt always used to have a good start. You mean he used to have a slow start and a strong finish? Balogun's doing his thing, long may it continue. How long does Partey have left at this club? Can't lie, I was happy he signed, but we've yet to see the dominant powerhouse he is consistently saying that. Who would you replace him with? I don't know who I'd get to replace him with. I don't even know how long his contract is, but he's 29, turning 30. You need to have foresight. Right now, you could have got Douglas Luiz in and, could have used him instead. He's under contract until 2025, so call it 3 years to run on that deal. Played 3 times this season, and once again, Partey has only played 62 times for Arsenal Football Club, 51 times in the Premier League. The most he has played in a row is 8 games. For a £45 million man who's 29, it's not what you want to hear, is it? Simply put. Jurgen Klopp is already fed up with Arthur and doesn't believe he is the level required. Liverpool are already looking for a way to cut the loan contract short in January. It's been less than a month. I don't know if that's true, but yeah, Ben White, I can't say his last name, but the Monaco centre-back's lit. You could see why United tried to get him. Ferran was bought for more than 50 M. Will Arsenal pay more for him? I don't know, man. You'd have to ask Arsenal. You'd really have to ask Arsenal. I don't have a clue, man. I wish I did, bro. Charlie, appreciate you. Just seen that on Twitch. You've subscribed with Amazon Prime, or better yet, resubscribe. Appreciate that, my guy. Don't think you're supporting anyone else. This is going understated. On the topic of Twitch, I'm live again at 4:30 on Twitch, people. James, he's lit, though. I think, bro, anything that comes out of France right now is lit, innit? You could do a lot worse than go in all them divisions and all them academies in France and come back with some decent players. They're always popping up. To stay up to date with DJ when he goes live, follow him on Twitter, DeludedGooner04. For all the socials are there apart from Snap, which is DGooner04. So yeah, man, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, you got to do a bit more. That tells me you're not near the starting lineup anytime soon, or maybe your gaffer expects a lot more from you. And to be honest, if a manager does expect a lot more from you, I hear that. Can't, you know, you're, pardon me, you're a Premier League football FA Cup winner, England international, earning a lot of money, but football career short. Push yourself. Is there any other news? Not on that website. There's none. Nothing there. Let's see what Google is saying where Arsenal's concerned. Would have been nice to, you know, I guess we'll have to go over it tomorrow. Would have been nice to go over Mikel Arteta's comments. Apparently, Arsenal stocked that t-shirt of the drawings from Mikel Arteta's All or Nothing, and it's sold out. No one quite does it like Arsenal fans. Special group. Special group. What's this? I don't know if I believe this, people. But Arsenal are closing in on signing a free agent midfielder to bolster Mikel Arteta's squad. Arsenal ready to move for free agent. Yeah. What is the name? Xhaka, former Lille man. He obviously was part of the Lille squad that won the title. But yeah, if he's a free agent, you might be able to do it. But I don't really think he's good like that. If Arteta finishes 5th and wins the cup, does he stay? If he wins the Europa League, that could be a luxury. You need to get Champions League. And to be honest, I don't think, a part of me thinks that's why we never really address everything we need to address, because I don't think they will. He signed a new deal, and I'm not saying he should or shouldn't get sacked. Regardless, you know, circumstances play a part, and I don't know what the circumstances will be for Arsenal getting top 4 or not getting top 4. But to answer your question on a lazy thing, if you don't win the Europa League or get top 4, I think you should. But they've given him a new contract. Since last season, where they've embarked on this new project where they've patterned the health of the squad, they will probably say, you know what, 2 back-to-back 5th finishes, probably overestimate the achievements that we have achieved and the improvements, and mitigate the defeats rather than being honest and considering everything. So yeah, man. And again, people say who we get as a manager. I don't know. That's down to them, but they should be there and be thinking about such. If that's true, then Arteta doesn't rate Lokonga at all. We don't have enough numbers, bro. For extra content, follow me on Twitch. Come on, Nightbot, you're doing well, man, with the shameless plugin. Doing quite well. Big up your thing. So yeah, man, it is what it is, people. Mikel Arteta's press has just started. So yeah, we're gonna have to circle back on that either tomorrow or something. I'm gonna miss that. You know, it's a shame with these 11:30 live streams. Always miss that. And don't forget 11 a.m. on Sunday, people, because we kick off at 12 p.m. noon. I'll be doing a live stream for Arsenal Football Club versus Brentford. So we're going to have to see how that happens, man. Bit harsh. But yeah, it seems like it's a slow news day, people. So yeah, with that being said, I ain't going to take up any more of your time. We've been here for close to 90 minutes. The talking points have been amazing. We've gone over the injury news regarding Smith Rowe, Zinchenko and Ben White. We've looked at any transfer news. Not that now's the time. We've obviously held a discussion. Appreciate you lot's talking points and you lot's support across Twitch and YouTube. Make sure you're subscribing, you're hitting the like button, you're turning on your notifications. We need to boost this YouTube algorithm and get to 50,000. Twitch gang, I'm playing Football Manager at 4:30. Sunday, I'll be doing a watch along for Arsenal versus Brentford. I'll be live an hour before kickoff as usual. So yeah, any other content, just make sure you got your notifications and you're checking your YouTubes and Twitch. Hope you've all had a great week. Hope the weekend's fantastic for you lot. Appreciate you lot for this sort of thing. Last question, DG, what do you make of Vinicius saga, him dancing? There's really anyone that's got a problem with Vinicius Jr. scoring goals, badding up man and dancing, they've got a problem. That's what Brazil man are on, you know, and he's a young man enjoying his time. There was a time when there was heavy criticism for him. And, bro, it's the same that Pogba. It's the same. That's them same man that say Neymar's not good because or Aubameyang's not good because they buy flashy cars. Bro, it's the dons that can't do 2 kick-ups, the ugly youths, you know, the dons that don't get gal or the gal that don't get man. It's just them lot that I try and shit about that do that bullshit. So I'm not even going to give them any time, man. But you lot hit the like button. Stay blessed. Stay safe. I'm going to love and leave you lot. There's no one to raid on Twitch. So Twitch gang, we're going to have to end it. I'm back at 4:30. I'm off to cut up clips from this live stream and a couple of others. And then, yeah, man, obviously, appreciate you lot support. Hope you lot have had a great week. Hope the weekend/bank holiday, if you're in the United Kingdom, is great for you lot, people. Most important thing, thank you for supporting me and being here every day, man. One love.
There's always just that active red flag defending. I think it's like. There's always just that active red flag defending. I think it's like. There's always just that active red flag defending. I think it's like.